knowing whether the content that is being posted, whether it's on your internet or not, is it actually authoritative? Understanding not just personalization, but targeted content that's important to me, content that I should be reading, that should be important for me. How do you actually surface that up? We're going to go through some strategies today so that we make sure that when you start your day leveraging SharePoint, you can actually build an intranet, design an intranet that's effective, helps you navigate, and allows you to see authoritative, personalized content.
Once we have identified all the content and the content zones, we want to also consider how we structure our intranets. So we've got our layouts, we've got our sites kind of defined, but there's also this understanding of communication, like Kenwell mentioned at the start, knowing where to use what, if that sounds better. In this example, we can start with personalization, teaching people or showing people, like, you would use your OneDrive for all your personal files, your working files. You would move when working on a team to Microsoft Teams, where you could have a planner and you can even have a SharePoint site and notes that when you're collaborating with a group of people on a project. And then that could even move to full-on SharePoint. So those program or initiative sites where it's a larger, more eyeballs, more people working on it, where you would communicate internally, where it would have their own news and their own events and maybe a final documentation that from the collaboration process. Again, there's a lot of different ways we can do this, but this seems to be the best way that we've seen when we are working on how to collaborate and communicate across these different areas, these different tools. And there's a lot of other tools out there too, not just Teams. There's other tools that will do similar things. And part of it is just getting everyone understanding when to do what and the benefits around those things. So if it's a smaller project, you could have a team site, collaborate. If it's a bigger project with bigger team, more members, more people working on it, you would have those communication sites on your intranet. And they could be those program or initiative sites that you're seeing here from the department site. Again, lots of different areas and tools to use. And again, sometimes there's preferences there based on what you're comfortable with, what you've used in the past. But we'll just quickly talk about here the personal, the team, and the organizational. There's different tools depending on your needs and maybe the size of the team. Again, communication on a personal level and on a team, you could use email, you could use Microsoft Teams. But when you're at that organizational level, we've got SharePoint. We've got things like Viva Engage. You can see it says Yammer there, but Viva Engaged is another great one for community. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. We won't go in each and every tool here, but you'll get the idea that there's a lot of different areas and tools that we can pick and choose. Some are better than others. This leads us to personalization. That's the thing we hear a lot about from our customers too. How do we personalize content? How do we make it, personable to the employee? And there are ways to do that. Usually we base this on user groups, specific business units or functions. Could be like your frontline or customer versus office-based teams. This could even be your geography. If you're a large organization and you have offices in different countries or different provinces or states as well, that may work as well. And then language is another way to add personalization to your intranets. It can be a tricky thing to get that balance of personalization, and there's a number of different ways we can do that, but it's important to consider some of these areas when we're talking about personalization. From personalizations, we like to talk about communities as well. So it is good to know where you do your work and where you can find the answers and the authoritative content on your portal, on your intranet. But another side to this is communities. Building that community in your organization, in your company. A great tool is Viva Engage. If you've heard of that or seen it, think of it like a social network for your organization. You can have relationships there in terms of creating teams, communities, sharing announcements specific to those interests and teams, stories. You can ask questions. You can basically involve people in your organization.
in any organization above, let's say, 500 employees, 250 employees, you're going to need to invest and adopt a tool like Viva Engage that allows you to build communities a little bit better. If you're not doing that, a lot of the conversations they're having, a lot of the knowledge that they're having, they're not going to have a space to publish and post and share that, or have others benefit from that network effect. So if you're not doing that today, highly, highly encourage you to invest into a tool like Viva Engage. Microsoft's got a lot of good ways for you to kind of adopt and pilot Viva Engage and their Viva suite as well. But want to encourage, this tool, primarily a driver is for building communities.